Thank you, Dr. Shurin, for being here with us today. I certainly share my colleagues' concerns about how MDUFA 5 came together, and I hope you'll work with us for a better process in the future. We're excited to have you here to talk about the next frontier of medical devices and how our phones and devices can deliver digital health. We carry these things around and they have tremendous possibility to improve patient health and well-being. One that stands out to me in particular is the app connected to the continuous glucose monitor, which allows parents to track on their phones the glucose levels of their children with diabetes. A constituent of mine talks about this innovation as an absolute game changer. She used to wake up multiple times a night to check her son's glucose levels. Now, just as an app that notifies her when he drops to dangerous levels. The FDA uses the framework of safe and effective to evaluate medical devices. I'm always going to be a little skeptical of that mandate to regulate effectiveness, and whether the FDA is best suited for that. That's a conversation for another time. But given that's the framework we currently have, do you think FDA is suited to properly regulate things like artificial intelligence?
So first off, we are the place for doing it, and we've authorized now over 300 devices with artificial intelligence, particularly machine learning. I think just 50 in the past year. But I do think that we need a regulatory flexibility that we don't currently have to better tailor the pathways to that kind of technology. Okay. The pathways in the law now are many years old. But I do think, and I'm happy to continue the conversation, effectiveness matters. As a physician too, we want to know the benefits outweigh the risks. And that's really, at the end of the day, what we're saying, benefits outweigh the risks. We got to know it helps patients, and that, again, the risks.
And the reason I ask about the artificial intelligence question is because 3 or 4 years ago, FDA had a paper that said they might need different authority to regulate digital health. You're saying right now there might need to be some changes, and maybe we have 2 minutes and 47 seconds. I don't think we're going to get through it right now. But if you would please follow up with us on what those changes need to be, that would be exceptionally helpful for this committee. The other question I want to ask you in our time left is, one of the problems we often see with medical devices and other treatments is FDA approves something, then CMS has to evaluate it again, seemingly with the exact same set of tests and standards, just to determine if they'll pay for it. How do you think, maybe you weren't expecting a question like this, but how do you think these agencies can work together to get patients what they need once it's been approved by FDA?
Well, we do have different standards. They're reasonable and necessary, are safety and effectiveness, and what they have not different than other insurers. But we believe it is very important that pathway from an FDA marketing authorization to CMS, or by the way, any insurer's decision to coverage reimburse, we got to streamline that, because quite frankly, patients don't have real access to technology, particularly if it's expensive, if it's not covered and paid for, right? Because people just can't afford some of these things out of their pocket, and they just won't get it. And the US is complicated. The reimbursement structure is much more complicated than some other countries, and providing predictability, however we do it. I'm not a payer, so I can't tell you, and it's not for me to say what's the best thing from a CMS perspective, but I do think as a nation, solving that problem to have more predictable reimbursement is absolutely essential for us to drive better technology for patients. And if we don't do it, we are at risk of losing our edge on innovation to other countries. And I'll tell you who's knocking at our door is China.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I agree with the sentiment. I suppose we could delve into this a little deeper at a later time on whether CMS is duplicating the processes that occur at FDA already. I think that's what we're concerned about. Looking at cost effectiveness seems to be like something a payer would do, but do they really need to do extra safety tests when FDA's already done it? That would be our issue, and they're not here right now. So I'm just curious what your thoughts were, and with that, I yield back.